Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is about building a strong, capable body able to sustain you. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's practice coming into a strong 4-point kneeling position on the mat. Open up your hands nice and wide, stack them directly underneath your shoulders. Find a long straight line through the neck and the spine, and then begin by just relaxing and making your belly soft to the floor. Then pull it up. Keep relaxing and pulling in through the belly button, as if you were trying to tap your belly button to the floor and then pull it up. While playing with this pattern through the belly, keep the line of your neck and your spine still and straight, and keep actively pressing away from the mat with your two palms and the bridges of both your feet. End in the belly up position. Then keep it as you peek over your left shoulder. Inhale to come back. Exhale to repeat right. Keep playing with that over shoulder look, keeping your back line still and assuming that belly up position. The next time you find yourself looking over the left shoulder, hold it and then lean your body weight to the right and try to stretch through the right side of your rib cage. Inhale to come back to neutral. Peek over your right shoulder, pause, and then lean your body weight to the left. Start to play with that look and lean, finding a rhythm of your own. Find your way back to neutral and open up your right arm out to the side of the room, holding it in line with your shoulder. Dynamically thread and just slide across the mat and come back to your start position. We're going to do that 5 times. Trying to keep as square as we can through the shoulders as we dynamically slide and reach. Then on the 5th one, you're going to slide all the way through and you're going to find your way down onto the bottom shoulder, keeping your hips stacked over your knees and your navel softly drawn in. Hold this threaded position. Remember what it feels like. We're going to try to mix it up and challenge our sense of balance, control, and sustainability. Find your way back to your 3-point kneel with your right arm floating out alongside you. Keep it there and extend the left leg out and up at table height. Start to tap and return on the back leg. End in the tapped position to the mat. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, thread through, connecting your shoulder to the mat. Return to your modified 3-point kneel. See if you can float the back leg and now take a thread. Find your way to a 3-point kneel, connecting both palms but keeping the back leg floating, and see if you can give me some modified push-ups. Think of it as an oil rigger. Thinking chin and chest to floor and back, giving as little or as much bend through the elbows as you can manage, keeping that left leg floating. Press back up and start to rotate your right foot away from the midline, opening yourself up into a gate line, anchoring through the left toe, and starting with your left arm sandwiched against your body. We're going to sweep, bringing that arm close to the ear, and we're going to tap back. We're going to end with this top arm nice and close to our ear. We're going to hold it there, and we're going to dynamically begin to lift and tap the extended leg, just to about hip height, and then back down to the ground. We're going to end in the tap. Then you're going to take your anchoring leg. You're going to extend that as well, tucking it behind the other leg. And we're going to see if we can reach through to try to tap our toe and come back, almost piking our hips up towards the sky. Then find your way from here into a 4-point kneel. Lead your way into a camel line, maybe tucking both hands behind your head and folding the weight of your head into your hands as you bump your hips forward over your knees. Then back to 4-point kneeling for a few dynamic cat-cows, and we'll play at a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 inhalation to exhalation ratio. Find your way into a long tabletop stretch, and then back to your camel line, this time tucking your toes under as you interlace the hands behind, folding the weight of your head into your hands, and stretching into the belly, stretching into the tops of your thighs. Keep those toes tucked under and find your way back into a moving cat-cow, keeping that little toe breaker stretch on the back legs. Ease your way into a neutral tabletop stretch, and then find your way from here into a staff seat on the mat, sitting onto your bottom, legs extended out in front. You can give them a little shake out if you need it. We're going to bend and anchor left, and we're going to hold onto the shin or the knee and try to give ourselves the tallest seat that we can, stacking shoulders over hips. We are going to extend and reach through the toes of the right leg, and we're going to come into a single leg lifting pattern, drawing up along the quad to make the leg lift, and then softening that quad pull to relax the leg back down, maintaining that tall seat throughout. We're going to end in the lift. We're going to keep that height off the mat, and we're going to take a small V out to the side of the room and then squeeze back with the whole inseam of the leg. And try to keep that leg hovering and use your big toe to trace 5 circles clockwise. Then 5 anti-clockwise. Whisper softly, relax the leg back down and make your way onto the elbows behind you. Keep pressing softly off your forearms. Keep your chest looking up towards the sky. Begin to dynamically lift and lower. We're looking for a higher lifting pattern. Maybe bring the 2 legs alongside each other, or the 2 knees alongside each other as you lift and lower. We're going to end in the lift, two knees alongside each other, and you're going to V up and use the whole inseam to squeeze back. Then start to circle out. 5 circles in one direction, and then 5 in the opposite. Then re-anchor to the mat and find your way onto the back, fleshing your hands together, making a little basket and tucking that basket behind your head. We're coming into a modified chest lift with some oblique activation around the world. So you're going to begin in neutral. You're going to give me a full 12 o'clock tilt and imprint. You're going to bleed up into a chest lift, coming up off center to the left. You're going to circle right and then keep circling without allowing your shoulders to fully ground for 10 consecutive circles. Then bleed your way back down to the mat. Relax the arms alongside the body. We're coming into a working bridge line. You're going to begin with both feet fully grounded. Find your bridge setup frame when you're ready. Start to think of curling the tailbone in towards your belly line and begin to disconnect your bum and your back line from the mat. Start to float up into the bridge. At the height of your bridge, anchor through your shoulders and stretch through the belly and the tops of the thighs. Keep that height, so not dropping, as you begin to dynamically lift and lower your heels off the mat. Every time your heels tap the mat, I want you to pin and stretch down through the Achilles. End in the lifted position, so keep the heels off the mat and bleed back down, one nodule of the spine at a time. Keeping your heels off the mat, don't allow them to relax. Take a breath in neutral and then peel back up, keeping those heels off. Start to dynamically lift and lower through the heels. End with your heels grounded. Peel back down. Reconnect. Peel back up into your bridge. Hold the height of your bridge. Keep your heels anchored and start to dynamically lift and lower your toes and the balls of your feet off the mat. End with your toes off the mat. Peel your way back down. Keep those toes and the balls of your feet off the mat. Take a recovery inhale and bleed right up, keeping those toes off the mat. Set the height of your bridge and start to tap and lift those toes again. We're going to end with those toes grounded. Lean back down. Reconnect your back line to the mat. Start to pull your legs into table. And then tap back out. just the toes touching the mat. You're going to end in the table draw. You're going to squeeze the knees and the feet together, and you're going to start to find a little drop off the center line and back to the middle, moving side to side like a stuttering metronome. Then we're going to add in a little series of 5 here, trying to run through the next 5 movement patterns without rest. Scoop to peel up, starting to find a single leg stretch, pressing off your palms. Then start to bend and extend the legs in unison, double leg stretch. Then draw your legs to 90 and start to find a scissoring pattern. Then start to drop and pull the legs back. At any time, you can anchor head and shoulders to the mat if you need it. Bring your legs into table, tuck both hands behind your head and find a crisscross pattern. Stretching one leg, keeping the other bent and rotating towards your bent leg and starting to play crisscross style. Lead your way back down to the mat, keeping the 2 knees and feet together as you trace a big, lazy circle in one direction for a few rounds before switching to trace in the opposite direction. Come to stillness, hug the knees in towards your chest. Then release your tailbone to the mat and stretch both legs to the sky, holding onto the back of your thighs as you dynamically toe and heel. Trying to keep your chin and your jawline soft and relaxed. Then reconnect to the mat, roll over. We're going to run through that whole series, this time favoring the second side. Set up your 4-point kneel on the mat, finding that long line through the neck and the spine, and start to relax your belly and pull it up. Keeping your neck and your back line as long and still as you can, and just focusing on that lower belly area. We're going to end in the belly up position. You're going to look over one shoulder, come back to the middle, look over the other. We're going to do that 3 more times, just focusing on the peak over the shoulder. keeping the rest of our back line as still as we can and maintaining that belly up position. Then the next time you find yourself looking over the right shoulder, you're going to hold that look and you're going to lean your hips in the opposite direction, your hips in your trunk. Inhale to come back, then look left and lean right. Keep playing with that movement, finding a rhythm of your own. Then open up your right arm to the side, your left arm to the side of the room so it's parallel to the mat. We're going to thread dynamically, just reaching across the midline, trying to keep the two shoulders alongside one another for 5, let's call them mini threads, assuming that belly up position throughout. On the last one, you're going to thread all the way through, thinking of resting the side of your ear and your shoulder onto the mat, keeping your hips stacked over your knees and your navel drawn in. Remember what this thread felt like? Let's see if we can challenge and sustain. So find your way back into 3-point kneeling with your left arm floating out alongside, locked at shoulder height. Slide the right leg out and up and begin to dynamically tap. End with your big toe tap to the mat and then thread all the way through and take a pause, keeping your navel drawn in. Find your way back to your 3-point kneel. Float the right leg up at hip height and now take a thread from there. Find your way back into 3-point kneeling, this time anchoring through both hands but keeping the right leg floating. See if you can give me some push-ups, thinking nose and chin as close to the floor as you can manage. Shoot for maybe 5 repeats, keeping those elbows softly squeezing into center. Then find your way into a high gate line by swinging your left foot away from the midline and setting up your high gate line on the mat. Top hand just resting on your thigh. You're going to sweep it alongside your ear and you're going to swim back. Looking for that rotation through the forearm as you play. We're going to end with that arm nice and close to our ear. We're going to keep those open ribs and we're going to play with the extended leg, lifting it to about hip height and tapping back. End in the tap position and then take your big leg, extend it and tuck it behind the other leg. You can keep this arm alongside your ear or you can open it up into T. We're going to pike the hip and we're going to see if we can tap for our toes. So either playing at 90 as you tap or working from a wider angle with the arm alongside your ear. Piking your hips up to the sky as you try to tap towards your toes. Let's do one more. Find your way from here into a tall kneeling frame, relaxing the bridges of your feet, interlacing your hands, falling the weight of your head into your hands and coming into a gentle back bend, bumping your hips forward over your knees. Keep those bridges of your feet relaxed into the mat and ease your way into a 4-point kneel for some dynamic cat-cows, playing at either 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 inhalation to exhalation ratio. Inhaling for the hollow back, exhaling for the rounded back. Find your way to a long tabletop stretch through the neck and the spine. Tuck your toes under. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Interlace your hands. Find that camel fall back, coming into a gentle back bend, bumping your hips forward over your knees, keeping the toe breaker stretch on the back legs, thinking wide, reaching elbows. Find your way back into 4-point kneel, but keep those toes tucked under as you cat-cow. End in a neutral tabletop line. Release the bridges of your feet and then find your way from here into your staff seat, facing the back end of your mat. Give the legs a little shake out if you need it. We're going to anchor right this time, holding on to that limb, and we're going to play left, assuming a soft reaching toe line. So you want to try to keep that left leg as long as you can as you start to lift and lower dynamically. We're going to end in the lift. We're going to V out and squeeze back using the whole inseam of the working leg. Then start to circle out using your big toe to trace a small circle. Move for 5 in one direction before you switch. Then keep anchoring on that right leg and find your way down onto the forearms. Making sure you're pressing chest up. You can tuck your fingertips underneath your tailbone or use a hand towel if you need it. We're going to lift to a higher pattern, both knees alongside each other, and then drop. You're going to end in the lift. We're going to V out and squeeze back in, using that whole inseam. Bring it back to the midline and start to circle in one direction. Circle a little bit bigger this time. 5 sweeps in one direction and then change it up. Then bend both knees, round your feet, find your way onto the back. Interlacing your hands behind the head. We're coming into a little around the world pattern and we'll work anti-clockwise this time. Beginning in neutral, take a big breath in. On an exhale, find your tilt and your imprint. Lead up into the chest lift. Come up off center to the right. Start to circle left. And keep circumnavigating that imaginary globe. So you're not quite allowing your shoulders and your arms to retouch for 10. Then reground to the mat and relax the arms alongside the body. Start with both feet grounded, and when you're ready, articulate up into a strong bridge line, anchoring through your shoulders and your arms and relaxing your chin to your chest. Start to dynamically lift and lower your heels, looking for that stretch through the heels every time you tap. So feel your calf muscles, feel your Achilles stretching. We're going to end in the lifted position. We're going to maintain it as we reconnect our back line to the mat. Keep those heels off, keep them off, keep them off. Take a breath in neutral, and then peel back up in the tiptoe position. Set the height of your bridge, and start to heel, tap, and lift. And with your heels grounded, look for that length through your calf and peel back down. Give yourself a quick recovery breath, and then peel right back up, setting the height of your bridge, and then starting to peel your toes and the balls of your feet off before regrounding, playing dynamically. Keep those toes and the balls of your feet off the mat and peel back down. Keep them off. Take a breath in neutral and then peel right back up. Start to connect and disconnect again, toes and balls. Reground your feet and peel back down. We're going to pull both knees to 90. We're going to hinge from the hips and we're going to come to a double toe tap. And in the tabletop position, squeeze the feet and the knees together and start to play tick, tock, start. Dropping off the center line, coming back, and then repeating on the opposite side. Try to keep your sacrum heavy on the mat so we're not coming into a spinal twist. We're not rolling onto one side of the body. Just enough to lightly activate those obliques. And then let's come into our series of 5, adding a little chest lift, pressing into our palms and coming into a single leg stretch. Start to double up, bending and extending the legs together. Then start to find a scissor pattern. Then drop both legs together and lift them back up. If your head becomes too heavy, relax head and shoulders back down to the mat. Draw your legs to table, interlace the hands behind your head and come to a crisscross pattern, bending one leg, extending and reaching through the other and twisting on the oblique towards your incoming knee. Find your way onto the mat, hugging your knees in towards your chest, maybe giving yourself an east-west cradle rock through the back. Hugging your knees in towards your chest, peeling your tailbone off. Then reconnecting tailbone, making it nice and heavy, and seeing if you can extend both legs up towards the sky. Reground both feet. Pull the right knee in, keeping your weight, your back weighted and even, and then extend. Bend to hug, extend to stretch. We're going to do that roughly 5 times. Every time you find yourself straightening up the leg, look for as close to a 90 line as you can. So think ankle, knee, hip stacking over one another. We're going to end in extension. You're going to loosely cup around your thigh and you're going to climb a tree, coming into a little chest lift. Climbing back down. Climbing back up. Hold your next climb. Extend your support leg, stretch it. Drop to the mat, take a long supine stretch. Holding neutral spine, but making belly nice and heavy. Bend your knees, ground your feet. Let's start to hug left. And then extend left. Give yourself at least 5 turns. Keep the weight of your back pressing equally. Try to end in extension. When you're ready, start to climb your tree, hand over hand. Climb up and then retrace your path down to reconnect to the mat, shooting for roughly 3 to 5 climbs. Let's hold the next climb. Let's extend our support leg. Stretching through both limbs. Find your way to a long, delicious supine stretch on the mat, reaching as long as you can through your fingertips and toes, holding neutral. Then start to brace into your feet. Interlace your hands, invert them, press into the heels of your hands. Then softly uninterlace the hands, flop hands and fingers out so you're in a soft beginnings of an almost Shavasana-like position. Start to bring the legs back into parallel, actively bracing into your feet. Extend through the arms, palms in, and then rotate your palms away from you. Start to bring the back of the hands towards one another. Clip the two palms together, press into your palms, maybe even fisting, and reach through your knuckles. Now starting to toe and stretch through the legs. Relax the feet. Unclip your hands, open them back up, and then reconnect, leading with the opposite hand in front this time as you fist. Reach through your toes. Then give yourself a few spinal rolls to find your way back into a seat, and you could pick from either just a rolling like a ball, you could be playing from more of a rocker line, or you could even take it into some sealed play if you like. So pick what resonates for you today. I'm feeling the rocker. Find your way into a tall seat, extending the legs and just softly folding forward, bracing, pressing the tops of your thighs. Maybe you'd like to stretch and reach over your toes. Maybe you'd like to float the hands behind you, making a fist and just making your crown heavy towards the floor. This is where we're going to end our sustained practice for today. Thank you so much for making the time to come and play and work. Till next time, keep it light.